So the intro to this video, it's a little bit weird. I shot some footage yesterday and then I shot some footage this morning. The only problem is we woke up to a bunch of snow. I'm still gonna mix the footage anyways. This footage was shot with the Ronin SC2. Wasn't too weird, was it? Also, did you guys notice how big Milo is? He's grown. He's not a little tiny pup anymore. He's probably still gonna grow like twice that size, maybe. I don't know. Apparently he's pretty big for his age. Just a heads up for this video, I have a head cold and I'm like coughing my head off. I feel fine, so I still want to make this video, but if I sound more nasally than usual, that's why. Anyways, Ronin SC2. This is the little brother to the Ronin S2 and the update to the Ronin SC. You guys remember my last video where I joked about every time I go to Maddie's office, I leave with something else? Well, this was one of the things I left with. This one folds up into this carrying case, which is super handy. This is definitely the gimbal I would want to be using if I were traveling. Unfortunately, nobody's traveling really right now. So the big difference between the Ronin SC2 and the Ronin S2 is the size, where the big brother, the Ronin S, can carry the big DSLR cameras. Like your 1DX2, 1DX3s, where the Ronin SC is more meant for like EOS Rs or Sony a7 IIIs, or really any small mirrorless camera. Working with Maddie, I have used many different gimbals, and I have to say that in my opinion, DJI does make the best gimbals. So I was very excited to give this one a try. Specifically, the thing I was most excited for is the new briefcase mode. Practically all the shots in the intro were in this mode. It makes it super easy to get down low and film. And I gotta say, after trying it, I am a big fan of filming in this mode. And the great thing is that they made it so easy to just switch right back to regular mode. One of the other main features I was excited for is portrait mode. This allows you to just quickly shoot vertical video, which is super handy for shooting Instagram stories or TikToks. The Ronin SC2's got you covered. The only thing that sucks about the portrait mode is that you have to be shooting in this torch mode. You can't be filming normally. It would be nice to be able to just film portrait mode upright, but it doesn't seem like there's any way the gimbal can get completely vertical while in this position. There's also some really cool features that are available with the Raven Eye accessory. Unfortunately, I do not have it, and do like a mimic mode. Wherever you point your phone, the camera follows. It'll also enable an active track. That is where the gimbal will automatically try and track the subject. In the future, I would love to try out the Raven Eye. So backing up a bit, the Ronin SC2 is the new version of the Ronin SC, as you could probably guess with the number 2. I have used the Ronin SC before, and I would say that my main problem with it was that it felt like it was lacking just a little bit with the payload limitations. But thankfully they upgraded from a 2 kilogram payload to a 3 kilogram payload, which I would assume is going to be pretty good for most of your mirrorless cameras. I currently have my old Canon 6D on here, and it is just about maxing out the cradle. The handle here is right up against the motor, and that's exactly where it needs to be balanced. But if I put it right up against the arm here, it just barely fits. Now the 6D is a pretty small DSLR. I'm curious if the 5D Mark IV would fit on here. Honestly, I'm not sure. If you have a 5D, I would probably Google to see if it is supported. But anything bigger than that, it's safe to assume that it will not fit on here. I should also mention all that footage in the intro was shot on the EOS RP, which worked perfectly with this gimbal. One feature you might be familiar with is the 360 roll. They still got it. A couple of the upgrades, they updated the thumbstick. Feels really nice. They now have a display so you can see all your settings here, which is super handy. There's now a % for your battery, and you can just quickly change all the settings on this screen. That being said, you can also connect to the phone app and do the rest there. And also on the app, you can automatically tune the motors, which will essentially just check your balance for you and tell you if you need to fix it. This is super handy because you want to maximize your battery life. If your gimbal is not balanced well, you're going to put more stress on the motors, causing the battery to work harder, or burn quicker, I should say. I'm at 71% right now, and I shot yesterday as well as today this morning. The battery life on this thing seems pretty insane. But I should say I've also only ever seen really good battery life with the Ronin S series. That being said, these are super easy to balance. I'll be honest, I've probably balanced 1 or 2 cameras in my life on a gimbal. Typically Maddie just does it and then hands it to me and says film this. I just quickly Googled how to do it and it's pretty simple. Once you do it once, you'll never forget how to do it. Also, I should mention this quick release plate is super handy. Now when it comes to price, we're looking at $400 US. And what seems kind of funny to me is that the original Ronin S is $500. And I think in a lot of ways I would much prefer the Ronin SC2 over the original Ronin S. The only way it would make sense to get the original Ronin S would be if you had a larger camera like a 1DX2 or 3. You might want to look into the update, the Ronin S2. You're just going to get a lot more features. So in my opinion, if you have a smaller DSLR or a mirrorless camera, the Ronin SC2 I think is the perfect gimbal for you. Now when it comes to stabilization, nobody does as good as DJI. Every single Ronin I've ever used has very good stabilization, and this one has not let me down. Apparently they have a new algorithm for their stabilization, which they call Titan, and from what I've seen from the footage, it looked pretty great. All the footage I shot this morning was in 24 frames per second, so I couldn't use any slow motion to cheat the stabilization. And I gotta say, any shakes or wobbles were from my end. I did a couple running test shots, and you can see for yourself. I'm pretty happy with that stabilization. Apparently there's also a super smooth mode, which I did not get the chance to try. You can also just quickly sleep your motors so that it's no longer on, and then just quickly turn it back on, all using the power button on the side. There's also a record button, so you can quickly record from the handle. That just requires the cord that comes in the package. But I gotta say, overall, I am a big fan of this folding design. I really like being able to flip it upside down and just more comfortably doing those down low shots. I've also seen some people getting creative on Instagram and putting this over here and doing and getting creative this way. That being said, I think that there are many creative ways for you to use this gimbal, and it is just so easy to move it around. Oh, don't do that. I just slapped the gimbal. My camera's about to die, so let's wrap this up. If you are looking for a handheld gimbal, I would highly recommend the Ronin SC2. It is a big upgrade from the Ronin SC and will confidently get the job done with most small cameras. I would also recommend this over the original Ronin S, but obviously if you need a bigger payload, you need a bigger gimbal. It also has a scroll wheel that you can zoom and focus with the focus accessory. Before my camera dies, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and I hope I was helpful. I hope I could help you today. Cool. I'm gonna die. I am so sick. It is so hard to talk. I've been like coughing between every sentence. I need to finish this. Goodbye.